Opportunity for Mississippi and for Georgia as well. We want to get another perspective on the ball games. So let's go to our game announcers, Tom Hammond and Jordy Hultberg.
All right, Gary, and as Dan noted, Jordy, there is always a chance of an upset in this very balanced SEC, but the two top seeds, Kentucky and Auburn, do have momentum at tournament time.
They're the hottest teams in...
Now for our AC Delco starting lineups for tonight's game, here's public address announcer Bob Longmire.
This quarterfinals game of the 1988 SEC basketball tournament between the University of Mississippi and the University of Kentucky. Now tonight's starting lineups. For Ole Miss, at forward, a 6'8 junior from Crete, Illinois, number 40, Mike Paul. And for Kentucky, forward 6'6 freshman from Macon, Georgia, number 23, Eric Manuel. For Ole Miss, at forward, a 6'4 senior from Columbus, Ohio, number 34, Charles Prater. And for Kentucky, at forward, a 6'7 senior from Louisville, number 25, Winston Bennett. For Ole Miss, at center, a 6'11 freshman from Oxford, Mississippi, number 21, Sean Murphy. And for the Wildcats, at center, 6'11 senior from Reedley, California, number 44, Rob Locke. For University of Mississippi at guard, a 6'3 freshman from Baldwin, Mississippi, number 22, Tim Jumper. And for Kentucky at guard, a 6'2 senior from Brooklyn, New York, number 15, Ed Davender. At guard for Ole Miss, a 6'1 senior from Setarsha, Mississippi, number 12, Roderick Barnes. And at guard for the Kentucky Wildcats, 6'4 sophomore from Owensboro, Kentucky, number 3, Rex Chapman. Head coach, University of Mississippi, Eddie Murphy. And the head coach for University of Kentucky, Eddie Sutton.
And there you have our AC Delco starting lineups for tonight's game. Remember, for automotive parts that don't just fit but match, look for AC Delco. Kentucky won both regular season matchups against the Rebels, but tonight, the one that'll be the one that counts. We'll have the tip-off in a moment. Colonel Reb and the Ole Miss followers, along with the Wildcat faithful at the Assembly Center in Baton Rouge. Ole Miss and Kentucky battling for a spot in the semifinals. Larry Ware on the left, Ben Dunn in the center, Don Ferguson on the right to call tonight's action. Kentucky is the higher-seeded team, wears the home white. Ole Miss in the road blue uniforms. And the game underway. Locke won the tap. Ole Miss had it for a moment, but Kentucky controls.
Ole Miss, as always, man-to-man. Problems inside. Look for Kentucky to try and get it down low.
Rod Barnes matched up on Davender and Murphy guarding Locke. Winston Bennett, 18-footer, too hard. Murphy with the rebound, almost a flat-footed rebound, but he had the position.
Had position blocked out well. That's a big key for Ole Miss, getting to the boards.
And Rod Barnes, guarded by Rex Chapman, sets it up for Ole Miss.
Kentucky in man-to-man also. They want to force the pressure, force the tempo. This plays into Ole Miss's passing game. A lot of movement.
Prater against Bennett. That's a good matchup to watch. Barnes can't get away from Chapman. Davender made a swipe. The ball didn't get it. It left Jumper open. He couldn't hit it, and Bennett has the rebound for Kentucky. Two teams missing on their first possession. Davender takes it all the way to the hoop. He had it blocked and got it back. Davender's jump shot rattles through. So Kentucky jumps on top 2-0 in the opening minute here in Baton Rouge.
Says a lot about the defensive abilities of Rex Chapman having to guard Roderick Barnes.
Barnes pulls up and shoots over Chapman. Can't get the roll. Jumper off the offensive board. Out-scrapped Davender for it and got the first bucket for Ole Miss.
Had inside position. Davender didn't block out Jumper with the easy one.
Tied at 2 with a minute and a half played here in Baton Rouge. Knocked out of bounds by Prater, who's shadowing Chapman. There's Chapman playing with that broken transverse process in his back. causes a little pain, but no danger, and he broke it in a game in Lexington against LSU. A couple of weeks ago.
Got back in the starting lineup against Ole Miss and played exceptionally well.
Barnes almost had the steal. Bennett takes it back. Driving jumper, no good, and rebounded by Ole Miss. Barnes to Prater. Jumper for three. No, he threw a pass that was anticipated by Manuel of Kentucky.
He was open, Tom. Should have let it go.
I thought he was going up.
I really did, too. So did Barnes.
Everybody but Manuel.
Good position by Locke.
And good help by Paul, who commits the foul.
That's the team defensive concept. They'll front or three-quarter down low, and Paul's going to come from the weak side. Locke has good position. The inside pass by Davender. Here comes Paul. Boy, that's all ball, it looks like to me. And Paul agrees.
Yeah, he had his hand curled around the top of the ball. It's the first foul of the game, and Rob Locke at the free throw line hits the first.
Ed Murphy shouldn't bring a sport coat to the ball games. He takes it off on the first call.
That 78% at the line by Locke is good for 7th in the conference. Ed Murphy already down to his shirt and tie.
Had the red coat, took it off after the first call. He didn't agree with it. Down to business.
Ole Miss beats the Kentucky token pressure, and the Reds set it up. That's the score. We played almost 2.5. Paul misses everything. Chapman on the fly. He's got Locke on the wing. Lobs it to him for the jam.
The big fella can get up and down the floor, and Chapman with a precision pass.
Chapman is 10th in the league in assists. You think about him being a scorer, but he has almost 100 assists this season.
Ole Miss wants to pass the ball 3 or 4 times before they look to shoot.
Davender stripped it away from jumper. It's out of bounds to Ole Miss. Here's that lob again.
He's a guard. He has his head up at all times. The touch pass, Locke getting down the floor. Picture perfect.
And it's given Kentucky its biggest lead, a 4-point edge. Davender again slaps the ball away, this time off the knee of jumper and out of bounds to Kentucky.
Excellent call. Excellent call. Quick hands, as you said. The official right there to make the good call.
And Wildcats walk it up with a 6-2 lead.
Flirting with danger early. They're down 4. Rushing a little bit.
Bennett got away from everybody.
Defensive collapse. Bennett did the little head and shoulder fake while still dribbling. The lane opened, and he took advantage.
Kentucky leads by 6.
See, it's easy to play defense on 2 or 3 passes, but you get that defense moving for about 25 seconds. They don't want to play that long. Too quick.
Barnes misses one, but Paul taps it to himself and saves the offensive rebound. Rod Barnes shut out so far by Chapman. Here he is down low, and Locke rejects it. Good help by Rob Locke.
Kentucky's version of help defense. Locke with the rejection.
And we've got a timeout with 16:02 left in the first half. And so far, Kentucky playing some great basketball offensively and defensively.
A commitment to quality, a philosophy of design leadership, a dedication to continuous improvement. According to Road and Track, it adds up to Ford Taurus, the best sedan value in the world.
Winning the world over. You're winning. Have you been behind the wheel? Winning the world over. Have you driven a Ford lately?
You're telling me that to hook up sales, marketing, and all the rest of you, I've got to scrap 4 data networks and start over?
No, sir. 3. We keep one and build around it.
That's brilliant.
In life, power comes in all forms. At Gulf, we make the kind that goes in your car. High-octane Gulf Super Gasoline, where the power lives.
Kentucky with an early lead on Mississippi. The two teams have each taken 6 shots with widely differing results.
Kentucky, because of 2 of those coming from inside, or actually all 3 from inside. And Ole Miss struggling because they're shooting the ball too quickly.
3 of 6, that's 50%. I can figure that out. Ole Miss is how much?
I'll stick with the 3 for 6. I'll let you handle the other tough stuff. How about 17%?
Oh, very good.
Thank goodness for screens in front of us.
Here's Prater at long range for the Rebels. Murphy flashes it back outside. Kentucky cutting off the inside game thus far. And the Ole Miss star Rod Barnes unable to score. Barnes gets a screen from Murphy. Still not there with the shot. Jumper is short and Davender has the rebound.
They had 5 passes that time and a good shot. It just didn't fall.
Chapman has his shot blocked.
Numbers.
Prater comes the other way. Now 2-on-2. And they throw it away. Jumper stopped. And Prater threw the pass, expecting him to go for the hoop.
They had the 2-on-1 break. And Jumper just stops. But here comes Chapman driving baseline. And Paul shows his versatility with the swat. And you're right, Jumper stopped. He should go all the way to the basket and then veer out.
Winston Bennett had Mike Paul right in his face, but still collected point number 4.
Boy, he went in that slump early in the midway through the Southeastern Conference season, and then he's really picked up his game.
And taken on balance, the senior has been the most consistent cat for the season. There's Tim Jumper, who finally gets the 4th Rebel point of the game, all by Jumper.
And Jumper's had 3 screens that time, coming from the baseline to the free throw line to free himself.
Lock on the low post, having trouble picking it up, and finally Barnes steps out of bounds before he can save it to a teammate.
Both teams swarming to the basketball. Locke fumbles the basketball. Here comes Barnes. Let's see it. Not yet, not yet.
Yep.
There.
Still pretty close at that.
It really was.
Second foul called on Mike Paul of Ole Miss. He has the only 2 fouls in the game.
Oh, very aggressive this evening. Really scored some buckets. Here's Ed Murphy trying to come up with a solution.
That's the Oxford version of the thinker. It'll go to Ole Miss after the pass was tipped, and then Chapman hit it last. He's wearing a flak jacket under his jersey to protect that broken bone in his back. Hasn't hampered his play at all.
Still has those gray shorts, but he's kind of pulled them up a little bit. Not showing quite as much.
Loose ball. It trickles right over to Prater. And Ole Miss sets it up again. 14-15 left in the first half.
Good jump switch by Davender. Off the screen.
Paul posted up low, and the jump hook is good.
Boy, he's been a late season find offensively for Ed Murphy. Becoming a threat.
Junior college transfer is chiefly noted for fouling out. He fouled out 6 times, but he has been getting into the offense more often. Winston Bennett. Murphy with the rebound, had position on Locke.
Now, if Murphy can do that for his father, he'll have an effective game. They don't look for him to score much, but just rebound.
Locke fouls inside. That's the first Kentucky foul. They got it inside to Jumper, and he'll go to the line.
Barnes with the basketball, head up at all times. The zip pass inside. Jumper lost control, and there's Locke. The big fella, get it out of my space, but drew the foul.
Jumper at the free throw line, a unanimous choice on the All-Southeastern Conference freshman team and the top first-year scorer in the SEC with an average of 13 a game. And a good student with a 3.4 average in computer science.
They just lives and dies with the guards. They're the only ones that have shot the basketball, I think. Even Prater hasn't gotten one off yet.
Jumper tonight has passed John Stroud as the top freshman scorer in the history of Ole Miss basketball.
John Stroud made the trip with the Rebels. Boy, he was a great player in his time.
And it's a 2-point game. Six straight points by Ole Miss until LaRon Ellis, who just came in, puts it home for his first two. He wasted no time getting in the scoring column. He's a 6'11 freshman from Tustin, California. Started 8 times for the Wildcats this season. Pick and roll. Murphy was open and drew the foul. Coming over is Locke, I believe. Will it be Locke or Ellis? It is.
Barnes with the ball. Here comes the screen. He rolls opposite of the ball. He rolled the wrong way, but got position. And inside the foul. So Murphy rebounding on one end, attempting to score on the other.
They call the foul on Locke, his second foul. Sean Murphy at the line where he only hits half his attempts. That one almost brought rain. Murphy sat out last season after originally signing with Stanford, then was given a release after his dad was named the head coach at Ole Miss. He was eligible last season, but decided to redshirt. And just completing his first of 4 years of eligibility. He's brought the Rebs back within 2. Chapman lost it. Ole Miss with a chance to tie. Just saved inbounds by Prater.
Oh, but a good cut to the basket off the screen.
Edgar Ward is in the game for the Rebels, 6'6 freshman from Chicago.
Ole Miss showing some patience. That's 4 passes, 5.
There's Barnes. Off the mark, rebounded by Bennett. Barnes, averaging 19 a game, still has not scored. Cavender in trouble, feeds it back outside to Bennett. Back Barnes and Chapman, who had 31 and 29 respectively in their last meeting, had neither scored. LaRon Ellis off the glass. Pretty touch with a big guy, the freshman from California. Son of Leroy Ellis, the former NBA player, and puts Kentucky up 4.
Kentucky with a very big lineup on the floor.
Off from Murphy, who came up with air.
That's going to be tough to get against this lineup.
It'll go Kentucky's way when we come back. Ed Murphy's club trailing by 4.
How to shave a giant. Avoid big trouble. Use the Gillette Good News Plus disposable. It's got the Lubra-Smooth strip. So the comfortable shave for a giant is this little guy. Good News Plus from Gillette.
Hey, what do you say there, buddy? It's me, AJ. And Max here's invented this mind probe machine that can tell you what I'm thinking.
You ready, AJ?
Fire away.
Hot dogs.
Quick, Mike.
Gasoline.
Quick, Mike. Quick, Mike.
How about groceries?
Quick, Mike. Quick, Mike. Quick, Mike.
Purple.
Quick, Mike. Quick, Mike. Quick, Mike.
Mark, purple?
Sure, the Tutti Frutti slush puppy, Max. See ya.
Quick, Mike. Quick, Mike. Quick, Mike. Quick, Mike.
Kentucky leading Ole Miss. The Rebels live and die with a play of Roderick Barnes right now. They're dying, 0 for 4, and Rex Chapman had the defensive assignment. It's very similar to the game that Kentucky had against Notre Dame when Chapman, midway through the contest, took over the defensive assignment on David Rivers, the Irish star, and really did a good defensive job on him. And Chapman, in that game, gave up some offense in order to play defense, and he hasn't attempted a shot in this game, so a lot of similarities.
He's a big guard, makes Barnes change his shot a little bit. So Sutton puts a lot of faith in Rex.
14-10 Kentucky with 11:48 and counting. Here's Chapman's first shot. Rebounded by Locke. Strong work inside off the offensive board, and Rob Locke will go to the line. He was the only white jersey in there, but he came down with it.
This is their first offensive rebound of the game, and Locke went after it very strongly. Chapman with the jumper from the top of the key. Bounces off to the right. Locke really goes up strong for it, gains his composure, and then gets hacked.
Said he'd go to the line. It obviously is a common foul, and Kentucky's ball out of bounds. But LaRon Ellis, he's the leading scorer for Kentucky. Off the bench with 6. And the Wildcats have a 6-point lead.
We ought to buy Davender a dinner because Davender gave him 2 pretty passes to set up 2 of those 3 field goals.
Cedric Jenkins has replaced Winston Bennett in the Kentucky lineup. Shot no good by Ole Miss. They've got Mark Wilson in the game, a 6'10 freshman who just missed that one. Chapman pulls up and bombs away a 3-pointer.
Chapman has that special ability to take it one-on-one and create a shot. That time, no one even attempted to stop him. He let it fly.
And that's Kentucky's biggest lead at 19-10. Prater fakes, drives on Jenkins, can't get around him. Ward misses and rebounded by Locke. Quick outlet to Davender. Wildcats on the run. Chapman looks inside. Fans wanted to walk. He finally throws it away anyway. Ward having trouble getting it out of there. Finally does to Barnes.
Barnes hasn't scored, as you mentioned. The Ole Miss inside game all year long hasn't been very consistent or very productive.
And finally, off the penetration, they get the good shot by Ward.
So Ole Miss is hanging in, really, without getting that great a play from the people that have to carry them.
They trail by 7 as we approach the midway point of the first half. Barnes knocked it away from Chapman, but it goes out of bounds and back to Kentucky.
Rex Chapman is going to come on the fast break. Let's see if he's a 2 or a 3. His right foot was over the line, so it's a 2.
So a little gift. It all went so quickly. He pulled up on the break right in the middle of the dribble and was given a 3 when it should have only been 2.
Ellis very mobile for 6'11".
Through a bad pass, saved by Jenkins.
What's his nickname? Swoop?
Swoop with those long arms. Locke needed about another inch or 2 on the arms for that one and went out of bounds. He couldn't reach it.
6th turnover by Kentucky. Ole Miss has to take advantage.
The announcers for this game selected and compensated by Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions. This broadcast a copyright presentation. Any use of the broadcast without the express permission of the Southeastern Conference and Jefferson Pilot is prohibited.
Ole Miss spreads the floor, motion offense, a lot of down screens, and movement without the basketball.
Murphy throws it right back to Miller, and he wasn't ready for it. It's out of bounds, and Ole Miss turns it over. Sean Murphy, his dad over there exhorting him to be a little more judicious with his passing. Here's Jumper back on for the Rebs.
You saw the graphic. That makes 6 turnovers for Ole Miss, so they're equal with Kentucky. Down 7.
Eric Manuel has returned for Kentucky. Wildcats with 2 freshmen on the floor, Ellis and Manuel, 2 talented freshmen, we might add.
Well, with this lineup, you've got to expect Kentucky to get it down low. Go to work.
Locke drives, missed the layup, and a collision. Foul will be on Mike Paul, his 3rd.
Well, Paul's not going to let you get it inside easily. He will challenge you, but he picks up 3 early ones. Locke. We said before, Eddie Sutton doesn't like him driving, but a strong move, under control, and Paul with the foul. So Murphy leaving him in the ball game right now, taking a chance.
14 fouls against the Rebels, 3 by Paul and 1 by Ward. Kentucky's only committed 2, both by Locke. Rob Perfect at the free throw line tonight, 3 for 3. Been in double figures 8 of his last 10 games. Has been a good shooter from the field at 53% career field goal average. And as everyone knows, the big surprise has been his vast improvement at the free throw line this season.
Well, now they have Manuel on Barnes, so that's an even bigger defensive player.
Chapman out of the game, so Manuel, the freshman, guarding the senior Rod Barnes. Baseline jump shot won't go. There's Ellis being tied up by Barnes, and Ellis throws the ball at Barnes. Ellis went up to get it. He brought it down where the little guy could get it, and Barnes just reached in to tie him up. Possession error in favor of Ole Miss.
Jumper after the great screen, misses the jumper. Here comes Ellis now, he brings it low, and Barnes, the possession is so valuable. A little push, a little throw. Van Dunn stands in between. Notice he goes to the little man, he didn't go to the big guy first.
Ellis will be taken out of the game by Eddie Sutton and getting a little lecture. Richard Madison replaces him. Here's a foul on Jenkins of Kentucky, his first. Number 3 on the Wildcats.
Well, Eric Manuel disrupted the entire inbounds play. They set a double screen at the free throw line. He fought right through the middle as they tried to get the ball to Barnes, but Ole Miss goes to the basketball and draws the foul.
Richard Madison wearing 42 in white for Kentucky, a senior, 6'7" from Memphis. There's Barnes finally getting in the scoring column.
Oh, he went up. The defensive man went up. He cocked it back behind his head and put it up very softly.
20-14, Kentucky leads. Just over 8 minutes to play in the first half. Quarterfinal round of the Southeastern Conference Tournament. Knocked out of bounds by Ole Miss and back to the Wildcats. Winston Bennett back in for Kentucky. And Rob Locke will get a rest. Rex Chapman also comes back in. And it's Davender's turn to sit down.
Davender with 4 assists already, so only 2 points, but creating things for his teammates.
Chapman couldn't get the roll on the floater, but collars the loose ball. Madison spinning, collision, and knocked out of bounds. Last touch by Ole Miss. So we'll take a timeout here with 7:59 left. The two teams sort of sputtering the last few possessions. Kentucky still in front. You know, Richard Madison has a great physique, and Rod Barnes thought his jersey was a little tight. Watch this. You'll loosen it up a little bit there, Richard. You need a little more room.
Tricks of the trade.
The camera is quicker than the eye. A lot of things happen here on the floor that you never see in person. We've enjoyed our stay here in Baton Rouge. All that Cajun cooking we saw at the opening of the program. Joe Dean and the folks at LSU doing a great job of hosting the SEC tournament. Winston Bennett fouled as he goes up with a short jump shot. It'll be on Edgar Ward, his second foul.
Getting the ball inside. Bennett, strong power move, nothing fancy, just strong, nothing but ball. Questionable.
That's the second time that an Ole Miss player has had his hand wrapped around the ball and has been called with a foul, although perhaps they were getting him with the body. We couldn't really tell if there was much contact. Didn't appear to be.
The official indicated that he got him on the wrist, so the body wasn't involved, and therefore they missed it.
Winston Bennett, who was on the coach's All-SEC team, has point number 5 tonight. Also made All-SEC as a junior back in the 85-86 season before missing all last year with reconstructive knee surgery.
Ole Miss has to get a good shot, Tom. They've got to get some movement and get a good when they're down 7.
Nice fake by Jumper, then he couldn't hit the shot, and Jenkins, though he was blocked off, went way up to get it. They're giving him fits. Here's Chaplin. Bennett. Travel.
Ed Murphy called that one. Look, threw his arms up in the air saying, thank you, thank you. Said it was obvious.
He was yelling, walk, walk. And the trail official, Ben Dunn, was 50 feet away and made the call.
He earned his keep. He's only walked about maybe a mile so far. It'll increase.
7-point Kentucky lead. Barnes, an off-balance shot. Good defense by Chaplin, but how do you stop that?
Well, he's earning them. He's hit his last 2. He's awakened. And Ole Miss back in it by 5, trailing 5. Kentucky now with a small lineup. You'll see more movement and some more outside shooting.
Manuel. They cut Chapman for the basket, and Barnes was scrapping for the ball. It'll go out of bounds to the Wildcats with 20 seconds on the shot clock. Sutton calls the play.
And this is defense has picked up. Good play. They got their hand on the ball and just not picking up the loose balls. Oh, pretty play.
And Bennett's wide open. That's the one Sutton called. It worked to perfection.
That's why you like to play zone on the out-of-bounds play underneath the basket, because it takes away any screens. That time, man-to-man, they screen for Bennett, wide open.
Wildcats back up by 7. Their biggest lead has been 9. Murphy posting up, double teamed and missed badly. Ward saves it but can't hit. And Jenkins clears the rebound. Emmanuel, 3-on-3. They'll hold it up. Chapman floats and hits.
Body control. Started off playing sound defense. Now his offensive game is awakened. Just like that.
5 points.
He doesn't go for Barnes' fakes.
Jumper got away from Manuel to lay it in. Tim Jumper has 8 points for Ole Miss, their leading scorer. And with just under 6 minutes to play, it's 25-18.
Jumper very good at setting his man up and rubbing them off screens and looking for the basketball.
Chapman for 3. Boom.
Oh, he likes playing Ole Miss. He's on fire now.
Rex Chapman with 8 points. After a slow start, leading Kentucky in scoring. And the Wildcats up 10. That's their biggest lead. Barnes rubbed off Chapman. Couldn't hit it. Ward on the offensive board. Finally gets control.
Ward doing a nice job on the glass.
Prater for 3. Charles Prater. Last night we saw him shoot up one of the worst shots we've ever seen. Eddie Sutton says, what's going on here? That's Prater, but he was straight away this time, and that made the difference. Last night he shot one behind the backboard, if you can believe it.
From the corner. No one touched it.
Winston Bennett shows that he can shoot from long range. That's 9 points for Bennett, and Kentucky answers to go back up by 9.
Both teams starting to warm up. Kentucky 67% from the floor. Ole Miss only 36. That's why the margin's 9.
But it is an improvement on their start of this half when they were down around 17%. Steal by Chapman. Broken bone and all. He's going to get up to jam that one. He anticipated the pass beautifully.
How many times have we seen that and made mention of the fact that Chapman creates his own offense by getting in the passing lanes and getting easy shots after the steal?
32-21. 11-point lead, the biggest. Good helping defense. There was a screen. Manuel came up to cut off Barnes, and they switched back. Ward under pressure. Rimmed out. Jenkins with a rebound, fouled by Ward. That'll be number 3 on Edgar Ward.
Such a good point when you mention that Ward under pressure down low. Every shot that goes up in the paint is challenged. Kentucky's too big.
And a timeout taken with 4 minutes and 3 seconds left. Rex Chapman, the game's leading scorer, helping Kentucky to a 32-21 lead. .403 left. Kentucky over Ole Miss, 32-21. And a lot of tournament action around the United States today. And coming up at halftime, we'll have the Budweiser scoreboard. The scores from tourney action around the country. Kentucky continues to blister the nets.
Chapman on fire of late, 68% to 35%. But Barnes is starting to open up a little bit, so they've got to try and cut it down under double figures before the half's over.
Ed Davender back in the Kentucky lineup to run the offense, being guarded by Barnes. Winston Bennett threaded his way through traffic to lay it in.
Just too powerful, too strong. They call him the Warrior.
Bennett, who averages 15 points a game, has 11 here in the first half. Prater for 3. That's 2 in a row from three-point land for Charles Prater.
He hurt us last night. He's looking at us. He wants to prove he can shoot from the perimeter.
Prater is a 46% shooter from the floor on the season. Third team All-SEC in the Associated Press. Had 16 points last night.
They made a switch jumper on Chapman.
And Jumper knocks it away from Chapman off Rex and out of bounds. So Ole Miss with a chance to chip away at that 10-point lead. Fourth turnover committed by Chapman in the first half.
Jumper really moves well without the basketball. Runs Davender off a lot of screens. He's going to have to get some help.
Barnes saves it inbounds. Wilson is back in for Ole Miss, and Greg Turner's made his first appearance. Off the glass, Jumper.
Pretty move. with control of the basketball.
He's the first Rebel in double figures with 10, and it's a 34-26 Wildcat lead.
What difference a night makes. You know, last night we saw Prater, everything inside. Tonight, he's along the perimeter, 2 3-pointers.
Davender penetrates, dishes to Locke, who fakes, but in doing so, shuffled his feet. That'll be a walking violation. And Kentucky will turn it over for the 10th time. Wilson out and Murphy in for Mississippi.
It's really the role that the coaching staff at Kentucky would like to see Davender play, the penetration and the passing. They want the assist man.
Here's an illegal pick called on Greg Turner of Mississippi. That's his first foul. And it'll be number 7 on the Rebels. So we'll go to the line for 1+1 on the Kentucky end.
So another opportunity after a turnover. It goes by the wayside.
You know, despite playing some pretty aggressive man-to-man defense, maybe what Ed Murphy is saying, Kentucky has committed only 3 fouls.
That's exactly what he's saying. Oh, that a Crummy High School call.
Number 25, Winston Bennett, the line for Kentucky. 1-1.
He's earning his keep tonight, isn't he?
Winston Bennett shoots about 70% at the line, and if that doesn't sound too bad, you have to consider that he's the weak link in that starting lineup as far as the free throw shooting is concerned. Kentucky very good at the line, 76% as a team, number 1 in the conference.
So important down the stretch in March, heading to April.
Just over 2 minutes to play in the first half, Kentucky by 10. Jumper, baseline, won't go. Turner fights for it. He can't score, and Bennett has another rebound. Davender in a hurry. Comes to Ellis. He goes back up with it and scores.
Oh, this is the Davender to Ellis show. Ellis is going to adopt Ed Davender.
Kentucky's gotten 8 points off the bench, all by LaRon Ellis. Ole Miss has only gotten 2 from the reserves.
Good if it goes.
Barnes pushed by Chapman. That'll be the first foul on Rex Chapman, number 4 against the Wildcats.
Barnes initiated the contact and then bounced off like a seasoned veteran for the fadeaway. So he got that call. Watch him now. Watch him lean into Chapman with the shoulder, then bounce off. So he initiates and drew the call.
Barnes will shoot 2 free throws. He is the second leading free throw shooter in the Southeastern Conference. He was 84.4%. The All-SEC performer has been in double figures 25 games this season. Leads Ole Miss in 7 different categories on their stats. He has 5 against a 19-point per game average, and it's 38-27.
Oh, he's so quick.
Davender got away from Barnes, and on the collision, it'll be offensive foul on Ed Davender. That's his first.
You just saw the perfect concept of team defense. He gets past the initial defender, and there he is, number 34, right in there, Charles Prater to draw the foul.
I noticed since Ed Murphy had his little lecture to the officials, there have been a couple of fouls called on Kentucky. Here we go the other way with a charge.
Guess who drew it? Who do you think would draw a charging foul for the University of Kentucky?
The king of drawing charges, Rob Locke. Second foul on Turner.
He's on the floor so many times. He's in position. You know, he's done it so many times, he knows when to flinch to protect himself.
He earned that one, though. That was a pretty good collision.
No doubt about it.
Suddenly calling things a lot tighter here. A foul inside.
They set a double screen for Bennett, who went from the side high post away from the basketball to the low post strong side. Prater was trailing. If he didn't foul, Bennett would have gotten the easy layup.
First foul on Charles Prater. And Winston Bennett returns to the line where he's hit 3 of 4.
So Prater last night had to guard Ansley down low. Tonight he's got to guard Bennett. He's saying, why wasn't I 6'7"?
Winston Bennett, who is actually a graduate student in the MBA program at the University of Kentucky. 9 times this season he's had double digits in both scoring and rebounding, and is the 9th leading rebounder in the Southeastern Conference at about 8 a game.
Look at that body. Look at the shoulders. Strong, powerful.
He has 15 first-half points, right on his average for a game.
Well, this is tough when you can bring Ellis up to the point of attack on your zone press. Makes that pass very difficult.
Ole Miss finally gets it safely into front court. We're under a minute to play in the first half. Prater penetrates, pulls up the jumper good.
He's been very selective on his shots. He's now 3 for 4.
Down to 30 seconds in the first half. Shot clock is off, and the Wildcats will hold it for the final attempt, leading by 11.
2-3 with Bennett inside at the top of the circle as a release valve.
They sneak a peek at the clock, which you can see on your screen. And now down to 10 as they go into their offense. Davender faked it, gives it off to Bennett. His shot blocked by Murphy. Locke puts it in with 1 second. Well, it wasn't real pretty, but it got the job done. Kentucky holds it for the final shot, and Ed Murphy thought that they should have turned it over on a walking call. Look at him. He's going to go into the dressing room with fire in his eyes. Let's see if we can find a walk.
Davender up, hang time. I think he was talking about before. Davender put the ball on the floor, the block, and there's Locke for 2. Not pretty, but all it counts for is 2.
So Kentucky with a good first half of basketball, shooting 70% in the first 20 minutes and leading Ole Miss 42-29.
Play all that badly, but they are fighting certainly a team that has more talent than they do and also more depth. First game of a doubleheader upcoming this evening. Later on tonight, it'll be the number 2 seed Auburn taking on Georgia. And we want to welcome in our colleague Dan Issel. And Dan, what about this first half?
You know, Gary, you said it. I think both teams have played extremely well. The thing that hit me as I watched that first half, a lot of people have picked different teams to win this tournament. Some people say LSU because of the home court advantage. Others say Auburn because they're the hot team right now. As I watched Kentucky build this 13-point lead very methodically, I thought they were thinking, we're the number 1 seed. We won the SEC tournament. We ought to be the team that's picked to win this tournament.
You wonder about the antics of Ed Murphy. He spent almost the entire
matchup. I don't see anybody on the Auburn team that can guard Willie Anderson. On the other hand, I don't see too many Georgia players that are going to stop Moore and Morris. So it ought to be a real interesting game. But again, Georgia played well last night, and they could, if Auburn is not ready for this game tonight, that could be the upset of the quarterfinals.
All right, well, that is coming up later on this evening. Right now, it's halftime with Ole Miss down 13 to Kentucky. Back with more after this for your local SEC station. Welcome back to Baton Rouge. Kentucky on top of Ole Miss, as you see at halftime by the score of 42-29. And it is our pleasure to welcome in probably one of the most popular people ever associated with the Southeastern Conference, our former colleague, Joe Dean, now the athletic director here at Louisiana State University. How's the transition been for you?
Like a piece of cake, Gary. Oh, we had some minor problems, but to be honest with you, it's not much different than what I did before. It's managing people and money, and that's kind of my bag, so I've enjoyed it. It's been a fun year.
How much basketball do you get to see compared to when you were working the broadcasts?
Well, I watch a lot of television. I enjoyed you and Dan Issel and Tom and Jordy and so forth during the year. So I see a lot of games across the country, and of course I saw all the LSU games. Almost all, because I saw all the home games, and I travel with them a great deal.
Now, if I can get you to take your LSU hat off for just a moment, give us an analysis of the teams that are left and how you see the tournament.
Kentucky, by far and away, has the best talent in the league. I'd take their second team and maybe whip the first. It would be close. When you figure you got Ellis and Jenkins and the Master Blaster and Madison, what a front line as a backup. I mean, you know, they're unbelievable. Auburn is playing well right now. They seem to be coming on. To Jeff Moore, you know, their great center who scores so well. He was out early. He's back, and they could be a dark horse. Georgia, to me, has had great talent, a good starting 5. Patrick Hamilton, maybe the best on-the-ball defender in our league. Great pro prospect in Willie Anderson. they haven't quite gelled all year. They've been a puzzle to me, and I don't understand them exactly. They could do it. LSU's played with a lot of heart and soul, and we finished fourth in a tie. I thought it was one of Dale Brown's greatest coaching jobs. We're not loaded with talent, and although we beat Vanderbilt 3 times, how we did it. But we're on our court tomorrow. Dale Brown leaves a lot of magic. Maybe we could, but I like Kentucky and then maybe an Auburn or a Georgia.
All right, now, even though you're not getting paid for this, but I just want one for old time's sake. Give me one of them.
The people in Lexington always love this string music
There
in
you go.
Lexington, KY.
The athletic director
Gary,
here at
thank
LSU, Joe Dean. Thank you, Joe. And we're coming back with more after this for your local SEC stations.
This exclusive live coverage of Southeastern Conference Tournament basketball on the Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions Network is being brought to you by the Jefferson Pilot Companies. For insurance and financial services, better call JP. By Budweiser, proud sponsor of the 1988 U.S. Olympic team. This Bud's for you. By Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By AT&T, the right choice. And by Gulf Oil. You go or Gulf pays the tow.
Our halftime score in Baton Rouge, Kentucky 42, Ole Miss 29. We are moving close to the start of the second half, so let's send it back to our game announcers, Tom Hammond and Jordy Hultberg. Gentlemen.
All right, Gary, Kentucky has equaled its biggest lead with this 13-point intermission bulge, and the Wildcats had a nearly flawless first half of basketball, shooting very well and getting a lot of layups. I think half their field goals in the first half came on layups.
Dominating inside, 30 points from the big men compared to only 6. And you see free throw shooting 75% to 63%. Rebounds, Kentucky up 2. Turnovers, 8-4. Ole Miss turning it over too many times.
Let me correct that, Jordy. The field goal percentage for Kentucky should be 70%.
Yeah, that did look a little funny.
Kentucky 16 of 23, not 13. It's 16 of 23 and 70%. So let's just take those stats off. They're completely wrong. 70% shooting for the Wildcats in the first half, and that's pretty well the story of the game. Tim Jumper of Ole Miss is the only Rebel in double figures with 10 points. Prater with 8. Barnes held to only 5 points in the first half. And in foul trouble, Ward and Paul with 3 each.
Look at the bottom 3. That's their big man. Ward, Paul, and Murphy accumulated only 6. Bennett with 15. Chapman with 10. Ellis 8. So Kentucky getting the job done inside. 30 points to only 6 for Ole Miss.
And as we said, Kentucky was 16 field goals in the first half. 8 of those came on layups. So your point is well taken. They're getting the ball inside, and that's the reason they're hitting 70% in the first half of play, and why they have a 13-point lead as we get the second half underway.
Ole Miss will stay man-to-man forever.
And Kentucky has its starting 5 on the floor. Bennett, Manuel, Locke, Davender, and Chaplin. Excuse me, it's not Manuel, it's Ellis. Ellis starts in place of Manuel in the second half. After the miss, Ole Miss turns it over.
Locke fell down again. Hurt his elbow. No call. No charge.
Rob Locke plays hard. That's one thing you can say about him. He's a blue-collar performer. He's always in there scrapping.
Well, they've gotten on him before. They booed him in Lexington, but he always bounces back and really plays hard, as you mentioned.
Let's see, Ole Miss does have its starting 5 out there. Prater, Paul, Murphy, Barnes, and Jumper. Chapman won't go. Ellis over the back. LaRon Ellis on the back of Mike Paul. Picks up his first personal foul. First foul of the second half.
Ellis gives them extra height, quickness. Strong on the boards. Now, you don't mind this kind of call. Chapman goes up for the 2-pointer. Ellis crashing the glass way up there, but Paul with good position.
Ellis getting the second half start after coming off the bench for 8 first half points, and Eric Manuel, who had started, didn't score.
Bennett with a near steal.
Prater whipped it too hard, and luckily for Ole Miss, it was last touched by a Kentucky player. That was a bullet.
He was trying to impress the baseball scouts with his fastball.
We played almost a minute of the second half, and Rod Barnes gets his first 2.
That's a good sign for Ole Miss.
First 2 of the second half, I should say, and 7 for the game.
He was 2 for 7 in the first half, but he hit his last 2, so now he's 3 for 3.
Davender gives it to Locke, and he traveled. I think Davender surprised him with it. Eddie Sutton's team turns it over. And that's turnover number 11, number 12 for Kentucky.
Saw Eddie Sutton with his March haircut. Got it trimmed a little bit.
Barnes.
Oh, he's on fire.
Yeah, he's got 2 in a row to open the second half.
He hit his last 2 of the first half. He hit his first 2 of the second half, so he's really 4 for 4 after going shutout early.
9 points in the game for Rod Barnes. It's 42-33. Kentucky still hasn't scored in the second half. Lock, triple team. Prater got him on the arm.
Well, but you saw it, as you mentioned, collapse. Well, he caught it down low, and 3 Rebels came very, very quickly, slapping for the basketball. Chapman with a good pass from outside to in. Now watch them convert. There's 1, there's 2. Here comes Paul, is 3. Really make it tough for that big man.
They called the foul on number 24, and there is no number 24.
That's what they're talking about right now. It's actually 34.
We think. Yes. Second foul on Prater, as you saw. Chapman brings it into Ellis and gets it back. Davender was open but didn't take it. Ed Davender with only 2 points in the game, but he has a ton of assists. Chapman got one. That was a 2-pointer for Chapman, point number 12.
As you mentioned, Davender 5 assists. He's only taking 2 shots, so he's really looking to help his teammates out tonight.
And when he does that, Kentucky is a much better team.
They really are.
Underneath, a whistle and a pushing foul. Rex Chapman, number 2.
Barnes with a little help from his backcourt mate. Jumper sets the screen. Chapman had to run through it, therefore the foul.
Eddie Sutton says Rex Chapman is a good defensive player. He said he doesn't always work so hard on it, but in the latter half of the season, he has worked on it and has become an excellent defensive player, recognized by everyone. Mike Paul.
Oh, tough break.
Well, he wrecked havoc in there. Bodies were going everywhere, and it winds up being a walking call against the Rebels.
Paul took a foul, and Prater could only land on 1 foot. There's Ed Murphy shaking his head, looking up to the sky. Can't believe it.
Checking the score, which shows him trailing by 11.
He said last night he was happy to win, but he didn't like the prize for winning, having to play the top seed Wildcats.
For the second time within a week. There's Ed Davender. That's what's his 3rd shot and his 4th point.
2 for 3.
46-33, equaling the biggest lead.
Ole Miss has got to really be patient and look for a good one. Oh, that's a bad pass. Good defense.
Ellis at 6'11", Pat quick to make the steal. Davender lost it. Bennett saves it. Chapman underneath, scores.
Getting out of control. That's a fast break opportunity, and Locke is hurt again. I think he's got hit in the face. He may wear contact lenses. No, that's in the mouth this time.
And he put a stare that would...
He gave Jumper a good look. Who wants it? He picks it up, throws to Chapman. Let's see what happens to Locke.
Whoa!
Ooh, there it is. That was Prater, but he looked at Jumper. Jumper said, "Why are you looking at me? I didn't do anything."
No, Locke took a right cross from Prater under the basket. And Locke goes to the bench. He is replaced by Cedric Jenkins. Barnes pushed Chapman off to get the shot away, and it goes over the top of the backboard and out of bounds. Barnes gave Chapman a pretty good shove. He couldn't hit the shot. Things are heating up in the physical department here. 48-33. Kentucky enjoying its biggest lead of the game.
Kentucky playing well on both ends of the floor, shooting exceptionally well. 68%, excuse me. And really moving their feet defensively.
Bennett was posting up on Prater, but the pass wasn't so good. He gets it back out to Ellis. He missed, but got his own rebound. Missed again, and coming out of it is Barnes. Paul drives. And the foul will be on Mike Paul of Ole Miss, number 4.
Davern did a backwards flip, somersault on the ground. Paul really hit him. Barnes with a good pass off. Paul out of control. Now watch Davender. He goes down and around and over. That hurt.
Paul needed to pull up and shoot it off the glass. Instead, he just bowled over Davender for number 4.
We cannot say that Mike Paul is a finesse player, can we?
No one ever accused him of that. 6'8", 215 pounds. Grew up in the Chicago suburbs, Crete, Illinois. Davender off the mark. Tapped by Jacob Bennett once, twice. Finally, Ellis. Ellis gets it back. I don't think that basket will count. It'll be a foul on Paul, number 5.
Kentucky going to the boards with quick jumpers. They've got the long arms, and they just keep battling you inside. Ole Miss in really big trouble now.
So Mike Paul fouls out of the game with 15:52 left. Here's how it happened.
There's the first shot, the first tip. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, keeping it alive. There's 4. Paul's arm right here on the head. Murphy with a slap. So take your pick. Kentucky with 5 attempts.
So Mike Paul makes a quick exit and leaves with 2 points. Ed Murphy's got a minute to put in a substitute, and he'll have even longer than that as we take an official timeout. 15:52 left in this game, and Kentucky adding to its halftime lead. 15:52 left in the game, Kentucky by 15. At the conclusion of the game, we'll be selecting a Gulf Most Valuable Player from each team. In addition to recognizing our 2 MVPs, Gulf Oil and his dealers will donate a $1,000 scholarship to the General Scholarship Fund of both Ole Miss and Kentucky. Missed shot rebounded by Sean Murphy of Mississippi. And the Rebels up court facing a 15-point deficit.
Everything is perimeter for Ole Miss. Nothing on the inside.
Ronnie Miller on the floor for the Rebels during that timeout. Boy, Prater, that's an NBA 3. And he missed it badly. Rebounded by Davender. Chapman comes off the screen, gets it to Ellis. Short jumper is there.
Boy, that's tough. Ellis set the screen for Chapman, then posted up. Chapman gave it to him inside. Tough to stop.
That's the biggest lead. Kentucky threatening to make it a rout here in the second half. Barnes, no. Prater tried to save it and was out of bounds. Had to go back to the Wildcats. Even the bounces going Kentucky's way.
I think Dan Issel made an excellent point. They're a team that said, look, everybody's talking about Auburn or Georgia or LSU, and we've won the regular season championship. We're seeded number 1, but no one's talking about Kentucky.
Manuel replaces Davender for Kentucky and Wilson for Murphy for Mississippi.
You see Ole Miss, they've got to pick up the tempo. They've got to play full court defense, try and get some turnovers.
Chapman, a quick 3-point shot is short. On the floor and picked up by Ole Miss. Barnes shoots it cross court to Miller for 3. No good. Chapman, Ellis fighting for it. Ellis saves it inbounds. It'll go back. Well, which way will it go? It'll go to Kentucky, they say. Changed his mind.
Ellis with the hustle, chases after it, joins press row. Very agile. Best seat in the house.
And they said now it will go to Mississippi as Ellis didn't successfully save it. Showed you how agile he is, though, the former water polo player.
Every shot Ole Miss takes has pressure. Nothing comes easy. No layups.
Here's Barnes off the screen. Chapman right there with him. Barnes forced it. Batted up one time and then taken by Jenkins, who threw it right against the leg of Eric Manuel. Jenkins back to get it.
But once again, the loose ball goes to Kentucky. Living right.
That's the score. And Kentucky didn't get it in the front court within the allotted 10 seconds, so that'll turn it over to Ole Miss. That sort of caught everyone by surprise, including Eddie Sutton.
Number 31, Craig Turner. Number 22, Tim Jumper.
Turner and Jumper are on the floor for the Rebels. 13:50 on the clock and a 50-33 Kentucky lead. A long time since Ole Miss has scored.
No inside game, and that'll change next year. They've got a good player sitting out in Gerald Glass.
The word out of Oxford is that the redshirt players beat the first team in the scrimmages.
I'll tell you an interesting story after this call.
It's going to go against Ole Miss as Bennett waded in there and was fouled.
34, Charles Prater, his third personal.
Roderick Barnes trying to bring the Rebels back on his own. Tough shot. But Rex Chapman, give him credit. Good defense. And there's Prater going to the glass. But Roderick Barnes went up to Ed Murphy before the season started and said, look, can I redshirt this year? Hold me out.
Manuel can't hit. Out of bounds to Kentucky.
So he could play with some of those red shirts like Gerald Glass. Ed Murphy said, well, if you sit out, we may not win one game. So you've got to play.
Well, Rod Barnes is a take charge guy as you look at Prater there, who's a little shaken up on the play. And you make a good point that trying to take control of this game and feeling the pressure of having to do so has forced a few shots. Davender for Chapman.
I'll tell you why they took Chapman out. The main reason, he came around and took that quick three-pointer that you talked about. Eddie Sutton jumped about 5 feet in the air and said, Rex, that's not going to work tonight. Good movement, spreading the floor out wide.
And Bennett's wide open.
Yep.
First two of the second half for Bennett, but number 17 on the night.
Well, Kentucky really looks crisp. Hustle by Manuel.
It'll go back to Ole Miss. But Manuel was indeed hustling after the ball. He was on the All-SEC freshman team. And
I think you heard a message when they started LaRon Ellis at halftime. Manuel, either hustle or you sit down, so he's giving it all.
Mississippi's gone almost 6 minutes without scoring a point.
They get so big inside and they're so quick. They come off the bench with another 7-footer. Ole Miss just has no one to combat that height and that power inside. And just everything has to come from the perimeter.
Locke spells Ellis. And Ward's in for Mississippi.
So they had 6 points from their inside players at halftime. They still only have 6.
Ward throws it away. Ed Murphy catches it. He wasn't too happy with it. If he could have let the air out of it, he would have.
At least he caught it. Hugh Durham last night caught it on his head.
12 and a half minutes to play in this one. Kentucky's broken in wide open, bidding to move into the semifinals against LSU. And the Tigers will be playing on their home court.
You think this place is going to be a little rowdy?
There's Bennett. I thought they had a hand on the arm. He made it anyway. It shows you how strong Winston is. And he has 19, the leading scorer in the game. Kentucky with a 12-point run on Ole Miss.
Oh, my goodness.
There's another off-balance shot by Barnes, but that time he was fouled by Davender.
Boy, double clutch by Barnes, doing it all on his own. The crossover dribble stopped. Here comes the help. Hang time, double clutch, and drew the foul. And Barnes giving the defense a look. Frustration.
Ole Miss hasn't scored a point in over 6 minutes. Barnes finally gets him one, and with 12:08 left. Double figures now for Rod Barnes. The 26th time this season he's been in double digits. 12 minutes, 8 seconds left in this one. We've got a timeout at the Assembly Center in Baton Rouge. SEC quarterfinals. Kentucky in front. We'll complete the quarterfinal round with our next game this evening from the Assembly Center. The Georgia Bulldogs square off against the second-seeded Tigers of Auburn. Then coming up tomorrow afternoon from Baton Rouge, we'll move to the semifinal round. It'll be LSU taking on the winner of this game and the dangerous Florida Gators awaiting the winner of the Auburn-Georgia contest.
You mentioned dangerous Florida. Dwayne Shinsis awakened in the second half and really played an excellent 20 minutes. Makes them very, very difficult to beat.
This half, Ole Miss connecting on only 18% of their field goals. They are 2 of 11. And Rod Barnes for the game is 4 of 13. Give Chapman a big
He'll
earn some credit for that defensive job.
He'll earn a star for his defensive performance, no question about it.
Coaches love that. There's Barnes with a defensive gem of his own. Knocked the pass away, and Ole Miss comes up with a steal. Barnes got rid of Davender and hit the shot.
Boy, he's so sneaky with that off arm. He gives a little lunge in and initiates contact and then gives a little fadeaway.
And Rex Chapman gets up off the bench to come back in and resume the defensive assignment on Rod Barnes. Murphy knocks the pass away, and here comes Chapman.
So Chapman will stay on Barnes. That'll move Davender to jumper.
Eric Manuel went out of the game. You know, Ed Davender began the season with a reputation as one of the finest guards in the conference, defensively, deservedly so. But Chapman is joining him now, and with the height advantage that Chapman has over most of the backcourt players, he's an excellent defensive man. And we all knew he could score as he gets there, 17 for the game.
Very good point about his height. Looks like he can play with pain, Thomas.
Foul whistled against Cedric Jenkins of Kentucky. Number 2 on Jenkins. Well, Chapman playing with that crack transverse process in his back. When he was in high school, he had a growth spurt his sophomore year when over the summer he grew 6 or 7 inches or something like that and had to wear a back brace. Here's Jenkins. Laid it softly through.
Swoop to the hoop. No, okay.
There's the cry of swoop from the Kentucky fans here.
Took about 3 dribbles to go the full court. Long-legged.
3-point shot. Good. Tim Jumper.
Well, that's what they have to do to get back in the ball game because the inside game is non-existent. Look for threes or look for the guards to take the ball to the basket to try and get on the free throw line.
Kentucky by 18. Davender just lost it. Took his eye off the ball. The classic mistake. Well, Sean Sutton is in, so we have Ed Murphy's son, Sean, on the floor. We have Eddie Sutton's son, Sean, in the Kentucky lineup. Sean Sutton, 6'1" freshman. And he replaces Davender, so Sutton will run the offense.
Most of those father-son combinations end up being guards. So Murphy, kind of a novelty.
Well, when you're 6'11", you don't have a whole lot of choice.
That's right. That's right. Of course, his dad's a big man also.
In more ways than one. Here's Miller for Ole Miss as Barnes gets a rest on the Ole Miss bench. 10-14 left in the game. That foul was on Sean Sutton, by the way.
Ready.
Tim Jumper.
Over Chapman with a little fadeaway.
Jumper with 15 points. He leads Ole Miss in scoring. And the Rebels chipping away a bit at that lead. Chapman fakes, goes the other way. Can't score. On the rebound, Ole Miss. And the Rebels starting a little spurt of their own here to try to get back in it.
Jumper taking control. A three-pointer, then followed up by a deuce.
Bad pass inside. And Ole Miss turns it over. For the Rebels, their 15th turnover of the game. Kentucky also has turned it over 15 times.
It's too many for both teams this time of the year.
16 Ole Miss points have come off Kentucky turnovers. The Wildcats have capitalized on Rebel miscues for 21 of their points. So Barnes got only a brief rest, as Ed Murphy, perhaps sensing a run by his Rebels, wants his heavy artillery back in there.
He took Jumper out, who was scoring last 2 times down the floor.
It was Barnes that gave Sean Sutton a pretty hefty push. Rod Barnes commits only his first foul, at least officially.
He gets away with it on the offensive end, but playing defense, not that time. And of course, they did miss the jersey grab, as we showed earlier.
5 team fouls against the Rebels. Rex Chapman will pitch it in.
Sean Sutton, the heir apparent to Eddie Davender's point guard spot.
Jenkins goes to the hoop and got it.
Started earlier in the year, has become a very valuable substitute off the bench. Gives them quality minutes.
Beck started 11 games for Eddie Sutton, did Cedric Jenkins.
Another grad student.
It's been oft repeated, but got his bachelor's degree in only 3.5 years. Prater misses, and Kentucky rebounds.
Boy, Kentucky doing the job on the boards, leading by 9, 29-20.
Sutton with a nice pass to Rob Locke, who got the easy 2.
Penetration is wonderful as a guard. You drive the lane and things happen. You get it to your big man for the easy points.
Batted around inside, put up no good. Finally, Sutton comes out of there with it. 3-on-3 break. Sutton to Chapman, no good. Locke has it, but a foul was called, I think, on Chapman's shot.
Ben Dunn's vision was blocked. Prater got all wrists. Sutton face to face. The jump pass to Chapman. There's the foul on the wrist. No question about it.
Number 2 on Rod Barnes.
That's the teamwork among officials. Dunn was blanked out of view, and Ferguson made the correct call.
Chapman to the line for the first time tonight. He's hit 7 of 12 in the field goal department, and also has 5 assists. Reggie Hansen is in the game for the Wildcats, a 6'8 freshman from Somerset, Kentucky. Chapman missing his first free throw, but 82.1% on the season. He's in double figures for the 42nd straight game. Chapman hits 1 of 2, and Kentucky's lead is 63-42 as we take a timeout at the 8:08 mark.
North Carolina State 79.
63-42 the count in favor of the Wildcats with 8:08 remaining in this quarterfinal game. And off their performance against a tough Ole Miss team tonight, you'd have to say Kentucky hitting on all cylinders here at the tournament.
They continue as they left off the regular season. Really impressed with their defensive play. Every shot that Ole Miss puts up is contested. Nothing easy for the Rebels tonight.
They only beat them by 7 last Saturday, so you figured that Ole Miss would give them a pretty good tussle tonight, but it's been all Kentucky. Their defense showing the way. They've also shot well. They've won the rebounding battle by 10. It's hard to find a chink in the armor of the Wildcats tonight.
A big upset there.
Yeah, the Atlantic Coast Conference Tournament, and Clemson eliminates North Carolina State.
Joaquin Valvano goes out early in the tournament, but he'll be in the field of 64.
Clemson's been doing that all year, haven't they? Surprising people. Barnes pops in a three-pointer.
That's been, excuse me, Tom, that's been the story. Everything from 15 to 20 feet out.
Barnes with 16 points in the game.
Pretty.
Chapman fouled inside. Gives Sutton credit for another good pass. He spotted Chapman sneaking in under the basket and rifled it to him.
Oh, what a crisp pass through traffic. Oh, they fooled us. They fooled us.
Just a little teasing, folks. In the Atlantic Coast Conference, the favorite does win. 79-72, NC State. The Wolfpack beating Clemson.
Sorry, Jimmy V. We counted you out early.
Rex Chapman back at the line for his second shot. Could put Kentucky back up by 20. Biggest lead's been 21. Chapman with 19 points tonight. 65-45, Kentucky in front. They led 42-29 at halftime and set the tempo in the first 10 minutes of the game when they took control on the defensive end. Barnes traveled. Yes, I didn't think they were going to call it.
Too obvious, they had to.
Tough night for Rod Barnes, but even on an off night, he scored 16 points. And the most unlikely of heroes, he doesn't look like a basketball player, but he can get the job done.
What a year he's had. Leads Ole Miss in so many statistical categories.
7 of them.
Thank you.
Hansen misses on his shot. Locke tapped it. Stripped away and out of bounds to the Cats. Eddie
Sutton has been worried about rebounding. There's Ed Murphy. Things will get better. He's an excellent coach. A very young team, although they do lose Barnes and Prater.
Sutton is fouled underneath, and he'll step to the free throw line. Foul is on Ronnie Miller, number 1. And 7 against the Rebels. So Sean Sutton, fouled in the act of shooting, will attempt 2. He has hit 19 of 31 free throws this season.
They say a coach's son is supposed to be able to hit free throws. Well, not the case here.
We'll have one more.
So shoot the ball, follow through. Do what I told you back when you were in 2nd grade.
Jimmy Rayburn and Dave Burchett, that was cruel to get the dad getting on the son. There's Locke, who saved the day for the Kentucky Wildcats, who equal their longest lead.
Great work, guys.
Actually, I guess that is the longest lead at 22.
And there he is again, on the ground, Mr. Locke. More bumps and bruises than the law allows. Eddie Sutton has been very pleased with his team's overall play of late, except for one major phase, and that's rebounding tonight. They're doing the job on the boards, leading 32-20.
Charles Prater hits his first free throw of the night. And that's his 10th point. 67-47, lead back to 20 for the Wildcats, just under 7 minutes to play.
Kentucky's handled the token pressure very, very easily.
LaRon Ellis under pressure from Murphy. Can't get it down, but will step to the line. Sean Murphy, number 1. Kentucky has won 5 of the last 7 SEC championships, 37 overall, and they've taken the title in this tournament 15 times, the last in 1986. Off tonight's performance, they're going to be one of the favorites again. We'll have to see how Auburn looks. LSU and looked good today. Florida won, but didn't look so good.
Oh, the LSU-Kentucky game. Oh, they'll be going crazy in this gym. LSU really played an excellent game against Vanderbilt, riding the emotional turmoil they've been through all week with the passing away of Don Redden.
Ellis gets a high kick and connects on 1 of 2 at the line. He has 11 off the Kentucky bench. You saw Chapman go out of the game. Davender's back in. 68-47.
Well, it's launch time.
Miller dishes to Murphy, who got it.
The first dribble penetration of the second half, and only maybe 2 or 3 for the entire game, and you saw what happened, the easy shot by Murphy.
First field goal of the game for 6'11" Sean Murphy, his 4th point. Ellis walking the tightrope, saves it, missed the shot. Miller rebounds for Ole Miss, out on the dribble, lead pass to Barnes. Oh. Too far.
Well, Ben Dunn saved it and almost gave Barnes a chance, but it went out of bounds. Watch the pass. Watch Dunn kick it back to him. A little help from their official. Got to be a little quicker, Ben.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, he'd have been already down court. 6 minutes left. Reggie Hansen, and he's fouled by Tim Jumper, the first foul on Jumper. Here's some news of interest to Southeastern Conference basketball fans. Tennessee Athletic Director Doug Dickey announced tonight that the Executive Committee of the Athletics Board, acting on Dickey's recommendation, has granted Don DeVoe a 2-year extension as head basketball coach of the Vols. Quoting Dickey, "We have made the decision to extend Coach DeVoe's contract, which had 1 year remaining, for 2 more years, which will carry through the 1990-91 season." Coach DeVoe agreed to the extension, so that ends the speculation that DeVoe would be let go. Don DeVoe will be back as Tennessee's head coach.
Boy, all you heard through the rumor mill was no chance. It was all she wrote. He was packing his bags, but I'm happy for Don DeVoe. He's a quality coach and a fine human being.
Outside shot by Jumper is a beauty. Jumper was 17 tonight. So Hansen hits 2 free throws. Jumper answers with a field goal. Well, Coach DeVoe's got some good freshmen to build with. Swearingen and Bell, who missed the last few games with an ankle injury. And, of course, Dyron Nix, the conference's leading scorer, will be back for another year. There's Rob Locke. Locke has 13 tonight.
Another assist for Davender. That's 7.
That's a pretty shot by Sean Murphy, a little half jump hook. But it's too little too late in the case of Murphy. His 6th point, but his team down 72-53.
We've got a dandy coming up next, though. I'm telling you what. Auburn, Georgia.
Locke went airborne with no place to go and luckily was fouled. Eddie Sutton still coaching.
Coaching for that next game. Always a learning process.
Locke will shoot 2. He's 5 of 6 from the field tonight and has hit 3 of 4 free throws. He also has pulled down 5 rebounds, so nice performance by Rob Locke. Greg Turner in for Ole Miss. And the Master Blaster, Richard Madison, on for the Wildcats.
The Master Blaster. That's all you heard about back in high school in Memphis, Tennessee. The Master Blaster. As a sophomore, they were calling him one of the greatest prospects of all time.
Ellis goes out. Madison started 5 times this season, but started 24 a year ago.
And there's a player that could have moped around and really become cancerous to a team with all this talent, but he's learned his role, has been a great leader for Eddie Sutton.
Well, he's heard all the stories about unfulfilled potential throughout his career and has weathered all that with a smile on his face. Here's a violation. Steps called on Hanson, nullifying the basket.
Will Madison play baseball for Kentucky this year?
Well, he was going to play last year, and it never really materialized and hasn't played since high school, so
it'd be tough, huh?
It would be tough for him. There's Rob Locke out of the game after that good performance we spoke of, and he's replaced by Mike Scott, 6'11 junior from South Shore, Kentucky. Prater misses on a 3. Barnes will whip it up from three-point land. Prater fakes, fires an off-balance shot, finds Scott just off the bench, takes the rebound. Davender out on the run, all the way to the hoop for 2.
Oh, that's where he's at his best, taking the ball to the basket. He can do it with the best in the country. Eddie D.
74-53, less than 4.5 minutes to play. It seems like this game's taken forever. Madison has it tapped right to him. And Sean Sutton into front court quickly. Davender made a pass to Scott. It was a good pass, but Scott wasn't ready for it. Sutton, however,
give it to the Master Blaster.
Picks it off from Ole Miss. Here's Richard Madison.
Oh.
He tried to pitch it to Davender, but Prater fouled him first. Number 4 on Charles Prater.
I thought he was going to sky, Tom. Madison with a chance to get his name in the scoring column, but shows some unselfishness. There's the pass and the foul by Prater.
You know, Madison was the leading rebounder on this team a year ago. He was also the number 3 scorer. Tennessee Player of the Year in Memphis and a prep All-American. Played football, basketball, baseball. Misses that free throw, and Barnes chases it down. 74-53. Here's a timeout taken by Ole Miss. With 3 minutes, 47 seconds left in this quarterfinal game. It looks like Kentucky will be meeting LSU in the semifinals. Three minutes, 47 seconds left in this quarterfinal contest with Kentucky in front of Ole Miss. They've been in front all the way and have broken it open here in the second half.
Domination inside. And the guards, Davender and Chapman, have really played well. Davender assisting, Chapman scoring.
Everybody's played well. Rob Locke had a big game. Yep. Winston Bennett had a super game.
Sensational.
Somebody jammed it through. Might have been Mike Scott.
But Murphy should get credit because he's smiling and he knows he didn't have anything to do with it.
Yes, he says, and the announcer said credited.
Credited, very good.
74-55 now. This game similar to the meeting between these two teams in Lexington, which Kentucky won 94-65. Last Saturday in Oxford, only a 7-point game.
Oh, that's a pretty pass.
Madison finally collects the ball. Scott tapped it once, no good. Here's Hansen. He fakes, fires. He got it.
Going to the boards. Sutton really can thread the needle with some passing, and Hansen looks like a player.
Rod Barnes for three, won't go. Ward fouled by Mike Scott. This is just what the doctor ordered for Eddie Sutton because he has a chance to rest his regulars with, hopefully for the Wildcats, 2 games coming up in 2 days. In a total of 3 in 3 days.
Hopefully, I think we can say they've got this one locked up 21 with 2:50 to go. But Ole Miss will only get better. Ed Murphy, an excellent coach, and they've got some great people sitting out this year. They'll be tough.
Bad looking free throw from Ward. And Sutton takes it down for Kentucky. Madison back to Sutton. He got it. Sean Sutton getting only his 5th field goal of the season. He's now 5 of 13 from the floor.
And Madison with another dish off.
And that is the 14th, 15th layup of the game for Kentucky. 15 layups.
Well, you're not going to lose many games when you got that many.
It's going to be a walking call. No basket. It'll go Kentucky's way. Here's Sean Sutton, the coach's son, in action.
If you dish it off, maybe sometimes you'll get it back. And there's the easy one, and he puts it in the basket. So one good turn deserves another.
Kentucky has won over 600 Southeastern Conference games, and they're about to rack up win number 1,449, which is number 1 in college basketball. Sean Sutton bounced out, but Mike Scott slapped it in.
Another one of those players they were really counting on last year, but with the influx of the new freshman, his playing time has really diminished.
25 points, Kentucky's largest lead. Derek Miller, by the way, has replaced Ed Davender for Kentucky. Jumper along the baseline. Jumper now has 19.
Should be some interesting matchups tomorrow with Jose Vargas in the middle. Ricky Blanton matched up probably against Winston Bennett.
Miller from three-point land won't go. Ricky Blanton had 30 today in LSU's win over Vandy.
The best friend of Don Redden, dates his sister. Just a remarkable performance.
And played every minute, didn't he?
Yeah.
There's Rod Barnes on the dipsy doodle.
Dale Brown told me before the game that Ricky Blanton came up to him and said, "Look, Coach, I don't know how much I can go. I'm really emotionally drained." Dale Brown said, "Well, just let me know. I'll take you out." Played 40 full ones.
Rod Barnes about to wind up his career at Ole Miss. Look at Reggie Hansen. He was a Proposition 48 casualty a year ago.
Boy, Eddie Sutton next year is going to have some decisions to make. He's got a lot of players to pick and choose from.
Ole Miss calls a timeout, stops the clock with 56 seconds left. And I think Ed Murphy just wanted to stop it to get those players in the game, the subs. One of them is Bo Allen, number 41, a 6'8 sophomore from Memphis. And Greg Jones, number 32, a 6'5 freshman from Munford, Tennessee, getting some tournament playing action. Allen, he was in the game 2 seconds and hit a three-pointer.
Didn't take him long.
That's what you call instant offense.
You know, Coach says pass the ball before you shoot when you're fresh off the bench, but not Allen.
Where's he been?
Good question.
Scott flashes it back to Sutton. He'll go to the line where he missed 2 a while ago.
Well, it's a young team on the floor with Sutton, Hansen, and Miller, and they're playing very well with among themselves.
Miller back for the Rebs. 31 seconds remaining in the game. Here's Rod Barnes getting a hand as he leaves the game and gets a big bear hug from Ed Murphy. What a player.
What a year. What a year. And a very nice applause from the audience.
All Rod Barnes did this season, as Sutton misses another free throw, was ranked 10th in three-point percentage, 5th in scoring, 7th in assists, 4th in steals, 2nd in free throw percentage in the Southeastern Conference.
Now maybe Ed Murphy wishes he had redshirted, but after the fact.
Sean Sutton's 0 for 4 at the line. That's going to be good for a lecture from Dad.
If not Dad, Mom, who's sitting up in the stands, will definitely tell him.
Patsy Sutton, who has another son in high school basketball back in Lexington. Scott plays for Henry Clay, and they're battling for the regional championship tonight.
Well, Ole Miss not giving up, still aggressively attacking the basketball.
Just 3 seconds left as Miller bombs away. No good. And the horn sounds. Well, that Kentucky machine looked awesome tonight. Murphy and Sutton with a handshake at center court as the Wildcats sprint to an easy win over the Ole Miss Rebels. And Jordy, you'd have to say that Kentucky did just about everything well tonight.
They've got to be the team to beat. They're on a roll, and they're dominating on both ends of the floor.
Kentucky wins it over Ole Miss 82-64, and we'll be back to Baton Rouge after this word from your local SEC station.